Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Belair and I am Belair Fresh Prints. I am a maker, printmaker, artist, crafter, medicine woman, herbalist, a little bit of everything coming to you from Ann Arbor, Michigan. For this video, I wanted to talk about the Gelli Plate printing process. You might have heard about it before, especially if you are a struggling printmaker who no longer has a studio space anymore. I know that's exactly how I found out about it. As someone who has come and gone in and out of the world of academia, I have constantly been looking for ways to feel like I am still a printmaker. And that can be especially hard because there's not a lot of access to presses in most communities. Sometimes it's kind of expensive to be able to do that. So I've been looking for some at-home and green approaches to achieving this. And this is sort of my exploration on the Gelli Plate printing process, which I found to be actually quite interesting and helpful, and to kind of fill that need to be a printmaker at home. I essentially did some work on my actual kitchen table, but also in my studio space. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about that experience, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the video. So just to reiterate, this is a at-home printmaking process using your kitchen table or some kind of designated space. It does mimic the traditional methods of monotype printmaking, which essentially means to pull a print of one from a non-repeatable matrix such as a plexiglass. The Gelli plate itself is essentially a thick gel plate that should be stored and protected when not in use. I would recommend keeping the plastic sheets it comes in and the box as well. That way you can get the most life out of it. As far as what it is, it's marketed as Gelli plate, so it is some kind of plasticky, spongy, soft material. It wasn't quite what I expected, but it does pull some really great impressions, so I'm quite happy with that. But the Gelli plate will be our non-repeatable matrix. So in traditional printmaking, it's plexiglass. In our kind of new age printmaking, it's going to be the Gelli plate. A really wonderful thing about the Gelli plate printing process is that you don't really need a lot of supplies. Kind of the most traditional thing you'll need is a brayer. So if you have one of those, that's wonderful. I like to use the Speedball rubber brayers. Those work the best in my opinion. Of course, the Gelli plate itself. Some acrylic paint. I just use a lot of leftover ones that I had from previous projects. Some textural objects, which I'll talk about in a bit here, some kind of workstation, so a kitchen table, a desk. You'll also need some printing paper, such as drawing or watercolor paper, and of course you're going to need some cleanup materials, such as soapy water and paper towels or rags. So the process is really easy and quite similar to traditional monotype in many ways. For the first part, you're going to ink up a substrate, which is going to be our Gelli plate, using your brayer and acrylic paint. The second thing you're going to do is manipulate the ink. And essentially, you can do that by using an assortment of textural objects that are probably lying around your house or our studio space. And as long as they're not sharp, it should be fine. You can use things like plastic bags, old potato and onion bags, some stamps, plastic forks, paintbrushes, pretty much anything that might create a texture or that can manipulate your paint in some way. Number 3, you're going to be grabbing your piece of paper and essentially just placing it directly on top of your plate as evenly as you can, and you're going to apply pressure to your print from the back, just using your hands and applying even pressure throughout. I like to go in a circular motion. That works the best for me. And from there, you're just going to pull the print. So pretty easy and very quick. One of my favorite things about this process is that it's really easy and it's essentially quite non-toxic. Another great thing is that you can always print what's left over from your plate, from your first pull, and this is what we call the ghost print. It's going to have a really faint impression, I guess like a ghost, and will be a great starting point to build up layers. This process is great for intuitive learners and makers and can be used in many different ways. Gelli plate printing does have some disadvantages though. The first one, in my opinion, is the size. The plate options tend to get expensive as the size of the plate increases, and so you're a little limited in that way. Number 2, your print can be dependent on the drying time of your paint. You should try to work quick so your acrylic paint does not dry. Number 3, which I guess could be an advantage as well, is that it is a little unpredictable, but also a lot of printmaking techniques are. So this may or may not be a blessing in disguise for creative people. Some advantages that I thought of are, number one, that it can easily build up layers of color, creating truly unique and immersive studio experience. Another one is that it helps you to loosen up a little bit if you're feeling like you're in a creative rut. I would advise for you to check out my Pinterest board at Belair Fresh Prints below to see ways that other artists are working with the Gelli Plate process. It's been around for quite some time and people are doing some really interesting and unique things with it, and sometimes it's going to make you question what printmaking really is. If you want to learn more about this fun and non-toxic printing approach, please check out my Skillshare class, Abstract Textures Using Gelli Plate, where I have a link below. You can get 2 months for free and learn a more in-depth approach to this green approach to printmaking. Thank you so much, and please find me on social media like Facebook and Instagram at Belair Fresh Prints and use the hashtag like you see on the screen, Happy Printing with Jen. Thank you so much, and I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later with some more in-depth conversations around non-toxic printmaking and art making approaches. Thank you all.